Xbox is begging you to cheat. Is this new Xbox policy good or bad for the players? Don't miss out on this crazy Black Friday deal. Let's discuss. What's up, guys, and welcome to the weekend edition of Xbox Ready. We're back in this studio, or not really. We're in separate parts of the country, but me and Jimmy are teaming up once again to talk all the latest and greatest Xbox stuff going on in the world. What's up, Jim?
My friend came to visit me here.
Your friend Coco?
Yeah.
Coco?
She's like, I'm gonna be on camera.
It's gonna be the most replayed segment of this video.
Yeah.
Like, Coco. The Coco bump.
She was scratching my leg that whole intro. I was like,
no.
I went back to Starfield, this new patch. It's awesome. This beta patch they released on Steam. They made it seem like it was just going to add in DLSS, but it like completely fixed performance for me. So it's locked 60 high settings, 1440p, using DLSS on balanced. I played it for like 4 hours last night. It was awesome.
Hell yeah. I've been playing through Modern Warfare 3. And we'll probably touch on that in a little bit.
Oh, I heard it's bad.
Well, I'm playing through the campaign, and I will say it's not like blowing my socks off or nothing. So far, only the campaign is available, so I can't speak much on the other aspects of the game. But so far, I'm like, I don't know, guys. If I paid $70 for it, I would be like, oh, hell no, this is crazy. But thankfully, I got a review code from our friends at Xbox now that they own Call of Duty. So, you know, it doesn't sting as much, but overall, a pretty whack situation, I will say. But let's get right into it, ladies and gentlemen, gamers from all over. We are going to be talking about everything going on in the world of Xbox, starting with this ever-expanding saga related to Xbox's latest accessory ban on unauthorized accessories and other things. So, Jim, are you aware of this? Like, because we missed a week of doing two hosts because you were sick last week.
I'm like vaguely aware. I understand that they're locking down what you can use on your Xbox, right? Like they're taking away this ability. I saw this for like cheating devices, but then now the cheating devices are the only thing that's still allowed, which is weird.
Yeah, it's clear that Microsoft has taken a hard line on cracking down on what accessories you can use with your Xbox console. So now they've narrowed that list to either their first-party stuff or with companies that pay for the Xbox license. You know, companies like PowerA, 8BitDo, Scuff, all of those guys. And if your controller or your accessory is not part of the official approved list, then it will not work with Xbox consoles. Now, there's been a lot of speculation as to why they're doing this. Oh, maybe they're gonna go and expand wireless functionality to like third-party controllers. That would be really cool, because up until this point, they've only been wired.
Yeah, that's super
maybe
weird.
They're gonna. It's becoming increasingly obvious what they're trying to do this for. It's about the money. It's about the money, right? Like they want people to buy official Xbox accessories, whether it's their own or from people who pay for the license. But there's all sorts of backlash going on surrounding this decision because there's a lot of people saying like, hey, I use certain unauthorized accessories not to cheat, not to do anything shady, but for accessibility reasons, like to actually be able to play the game. And I don't really know too much about, you know, that aspect of it, but now it's taken like another turn because whereas people were thinking, okay, maybe they're going to crack down on people using Zim adapters for cheating and stuff to use mouse and keyboard on your console and have the aim assist. Apparently, that's the only thing that's not going to be banned as part of this new policy. Windows Central got the scoop, and they were saying that yeah, they spoke to an Xbox representative. They mentioned that they have the ability to detect these adapters and stuff, but they're just not using it, and it's not going to be a part, like detecting the stuff is not going to be a part of this new policy that they're rolling out.
That's crazy. That's just nuts. I don't really know. I don't get why they're doing it. Were people able to do anything with these third-party controllers, or are they just trying to make Xbox like get a hold on it now so it doesn't become a problem later? It just seems like such a weird thing to devote resources to when there's so much other stuff that I feel like they could worry about when it comes to Xbox.
Well, it's interesting because it's like, how much money are they losing to these unauthorized accessories and controllers and stuff to where they feel the need to step in?
Yeah,
and
people
be
must
like,
be
no,
buying
only
a lot of
official
them.
stuff. Yeah, you know, I've never experimented with like these unauthorized accessories, I guess, myself. So all of this was kind of news to me. Yeah.
Like you could just use the good Xbox controller that comes with your Xbox, and they run sales on them all the time. Like I play on my PlayStation 5 the most, and my PC with my DualSense, but even I have like a pretty large collection of Xbox controllers.
Yeah, but even going back the past generations, I pick up like cheap, janky third-party stuff, but they always had like the Xbox approval or whatever,
Right.
But do you know a lot about these adapters that are being mentioned, the XIM, the Zim adapters that let you use mouse and keyboard with your Xbox?
I know they're a huge problem in Destiny 2. Like people in Crucible use them all the time, but I've never really like looked into it because I don't know why you would pay to cheat. Like that's crazy to pay money to be fake good at a game. Just get good and play. Like that ruins the game for me. I don't like cheating. I don't like, hacking or anything like that. I'm just like, I'll just play the game as intended.
So for those of you who don't know what we're talking about, these are adapters that basically trick your Xbox into thinking that a mouse and keyboard is a regular Xbox controller. So you essentially get the best of both worlds, like the precision of a mouse and keyboard and like the axis movement and stuff with the aim assist that you would get in a lot of shooters on console. I'm wondering like, how much of an advantage these really give people, because I'm looking at some of the prices for these and they're not cheap, man. They're like 120, 100, like at least like 130 minimum and then upwards, right? So I'm like, dang, so you're paying for the console and then you're paying for this crazy adapter. At this point, you might as well just go on PC, right?
Yeah, like why? That's crazy. You go to work, you come home, you sit down, and you're like, man, I'm gonna spend the rest of my night griefing people with cheats in Destiny 2. Like, I don't understand how that's more fun than just playing the game.
I don't know,
like,
man.
It's not like a teenager can afford, right? Like a high schooler, like someone who would have fun doing that.
It's
like
prohibitively expensive. Yeah.
So I'm like imagining like a guy my age, like 30 plus, doing that. And I'm like, that's so corny.
And be like, oh yeah, man.
Yeah.
You should have seen this kill streak I had going on Warzone. I was popping off to like 10
I think it's
Twitter
a problem in
followers.
Halo too. Like people use them in Halo Infinite, but somehow they curbed it. Or I guess the population got so low that the cheat makers stopped making cheats for Halo Infinite. They moved on to other games, so now there's not a lot of cheaters in Halo. I think that's actually what happened.
They're like, it's just not worth it anymore. But yeah,
right.
So for some reason, these adapters are kind of making it through this dragnet that Xbox is throwing out for accessories and stuff. Not entirely sure why. They, like Windows Central is reporting, they have the ability to, but they're just not. Very confusing stuff on this part. I just hope that they figure it out, I guess, because this thing is kind of snowballing, right? It started out like, okay, only official Xbox accessories allowed on an Xbox console. Thought that would be the end of it, and now like more and more stuff is coming out surrounding this new policy. More questions are arising, and I feel like they just need to squash it going forward into the holidays.
Good, yeah, especially with that discount that's coming up.
We'll get into that a little bit. But let's talk about another controversial Xbox feature policy. They came out with their third Xbox transparency report and how Xbox is using AI to basically curb toxicity in multiplayer games. And this is something that always causes quite the stir on the channel and in the comments and stuff whenever we talk about. So some key takeaways from this new transparency report. Xbox is talking about how in this last period, over 4.7 million pieces of content were blocked before reaching players, including a 135,000 increase, which is up by almost 40% from last period in imagery thanks to investments in utilizing the new blah 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 foundation.
The new AI crap.
Another key takeaway that they're detailing in this new report is that they have issued 84,000 harassment/bullying proactive enforcements, which is almost up from 100% from last period, 95%, which includes like in-game voice harassment and things like that, anti-bullying measures. I feel like I know where you stand on this, Jim. Do you think ultimately stuff like this, their efforts to curb toxicity and like bullying and online harassment, do you think in the long run it's going to be better for Xbox and like Xbox Live and people playing online, or worse?
I don't know, because
The
I was just
silence
playing
is
Halo
loud.
the other day. I was playing Halo the other day, right? And I played all night on Saturday pretty much, from like 8 p.m. to midnight. And I was on my Xbox, and I was in a match where I just kept getting this one guy kept like coming in my path, and I kept killing him. It was one guy like over and over. Like most of my kills that match were this one guy, and he sent me a voice message, and before I could even listen to it, it was like removed for harassment. So this AI is working quick. Like I want to know.
It's working overtime.
It's like part of the fun though, I guess. I don't know. Like I don't.
Well, okay.
On the one hand, I get it. It's like, yeah, it sucks if like you work all day or you have school or whatever, you come home and someone's just like screaming slurs at you through Xbox Live. That sucks. But it's still just like, it's funny to me half the time. It only happens when I'm playing good, so it's like confidence boosting a little bit. I just think it's just like
you really
why,
know you're doing a good
is
job.
anyone really complaining about it that much where it's doing anything to spend all this time and money and energy to stop it? I don't think so. It's just so they can like advertise more, I guess, for their Call of Duty League or whatever.
Here's my thing about it, because like if you're saying like crazy extreme stuff, like you're really talking crazy, then yes, like I would hope that Xbox would step in and take preventative action or like disciplinary action against that person, because we've been seeing some cases, and me especially on r/Xbox already, not Xbox already. So I don't have a Reddit thread. Do not look for that Reddit thread. I'm talking r/Xbox Series X. People posting bans for saying like GG or like saying like one curse word or something like that, and they get hit with like a ban or a disciplinary action. You know what I'm saying? And that's kind of where I'm like, I don't really know, because you know, in the heat of passion, Jim, you know, sometimes you say things,
especially in a
not like
competitive
crazy
multiplayer game. Like
I think about some of my favorite gaming clips throughout history, and a lot of them, even though they're like harmless and funny, they probably wouldn't make it through like this AI ban, right? Which I feel like ultimately will hurt, you know, user generated content and like user generated marketing and stuff. I wish there was just a way to differentiate like the really bad extreme stuff from like the harmless stuff, right? But it seems like it's all kind of like getting
like
swept
ban
up.
the repeat offenders or whatever. I don't know.
And they did say in this transparency report that when they take disciplinary action against someone, that pretty much they never repeat offend. Like they don't see a lot of repeat offenders after they take action. That's kind of interesting. Do you think that this is going to drive people away from playing games online in Xbox? Do you think it's that extreme of an issue?
I don't think they're going to say, oh, I'm going to go play on PlayStation, because it seems like it's actually in a lot of the games versus the actual platform. Like Call of Duty has the same thing built into itself already with like AI that tracks what people do. And apparently now they have people who look at it case by case before they ban people, but eventually they want to phase that out. So I don't think people are going to like sit there at the store and be like, well, Xbox polices my speech online, so I'm not going to buy an Xbox. You know, like, I don't think it's that drastic, but it's just annoying and lame.
It's clear that like as they're expanding the gaming audience, they're trying to make it more appealing for people that don't usually play games online, that may be turned off by someone talking crazy or someone talking trash or leaving weird voice messages and stuff. But I wish there was a little bit more of like a middle road kind of option, I guess.
Right.
A little bit more like case by case basis. And it says that they have like, these AI tools, but they're also being reviewed by humans as well. So I don't know. We'll see how it goes. I haven't had any issues playing games online, so this is not something that like hits close to home for me in any way.
Yeah,
but it makes me think. Let's move on to some good news for Xbox. Like, let's leave the controversial stuff behind, although this may be controversial, I guess. Where have we heard this before, Jim? Phil Spencer says that Xbox plans to release a first-party blockbuster or highly anticipated title every 3 months. Speaking with Famitsu a couple days ago.
Famitsu, the Japanese magazine.
Yes, sir.
I talked about this in my channel, and you keep saying it. We need it to happen. Do you think it's going to happen?
I think this time it's going to happen, and we don't have to talk about it too much, because at this point I would have already done a whole video about it. You know, all of these crazy, you know, work from home and like big like labor and studio delays. I think they're behind us. I think people are starting to figure it out. They've been saying it for a while, but I think going forward, it's something that they can actually achieve. And it may be a mixture of things that we see that they come out with on PC and console and stuff, but Xbox first party, I think it's very realistic for them to be releasing something.
They kind of hit
every
it this
3
year,
months.
I would say, between like Hi-Fi Rush, Forza Motorsport, Redfall counts, even though it's not a great game.
They put it out. They put it out.
Yeah, they had a game every couple of months releasing on Xbox, which is good.
They weren't always home runs,
of course, right? That was a huge game.
I have a couple of questions in the 2024 lineup. But overall, I think they have good momentum. Hopefully they can keep it up. All they have to do is just not screw it up. I think that's one of the things that Sony is really good at. Like they just don't screw it up often. Like sometimes they have misses, but for their major stuff, they just slightly improve it and they just don't mess it up, right?
Xbox is primed to have a really good 2024. If they don't screw it up, it could be really good for them.
And speaking of changes going on at Xbox and stuff, there is a new boss of Xbox Game Studios. So with the promotion of Matt Booty, there was obviously a vacancy there. And it's going to be... The
guy Alan something from Turn 10?
Yes, he's from Turn 10. I'm looking for his name. Alan Hartman. There we go. Yeah. Alan Hartman. He is going to be the head of Xbox Game Studios. I'm going to have a Shaq moment here. I'm not too familiar with this game. Do you know much about this guy?
I was reading about him earlier today, and I guess people really liked working for him. I mean, obviously, Turn 10's a good studio, so that's a good person to promote. I guess the guy has a Ford GT, and he parks it in the lobby and will give people rides in it and stuff at the studio, which I think is kind of cool. This seems like a nice guy.
He's a man of the people.
Yeah, he's like,
well-liked.
Hey, I got a Ford GT. Come check it out. It's a black one. It has a number 12 on it. I was like, I would like that car. It's a very cool car. So yeah, Matt Booty's promoted overseeing the studios. That was more shocking to me because performance standpoint, I just don't think Matt Booty has been killing it the past few years. Just overseeing everything. The Xbox release slate has not been up to par until this year. So having him oversee everything, including Bethesda now, that's a tough job for anyone. I wonder how this is going to play out because we've had a lot of Xbox releases that are buggy or don't work as well on PC. They don't sell well, X, Y, and Z. Hopefully that was more of a management above him situation and he's getting more power. So he'll be able to make sure games are actually done. But yeah, promoting people from within, I always like versus just hiring someone from the outside because clearly this dude's been around at Xbox for a long time, so he gets the ins and outs of how things work there. Seems like a good promotion to me.
Going back to Matt Booty, it seems like he had a number of wins before being head of Xbox Game Studios, and then as soon as that happened, the wins stopped coming.
Yeah,
almost.
So it's got to be just a mix of them figuring things out, owning so many studios, and just bad timing, right? Clearly, Phil Spencer's happy with them.
Obviously, they had a ton of studios before, and then they added Bethesda, and now they have freaking Activision Blizzard under their belt. There's going to be, I'm sure, a period of consolidation. Hopefully, this leadership shuffle that we're seeing from Xbox, it's ultimately, in the long run, good, right? 343, there was a lot of shuffling with, the upper management positions and stuff. And I feel ultimately that ended up working out. So hopefully they can do the same stuff with, Xbox Game Studios at large as well. Moving on to some more good news for Xbox fan, especially if you're waiting on the release of Baldur's Gate 3. You hear me talk about it all the time on the channel. There was apparently, Larian Studios had a breakthrough with getting this game to run on the Series S. And Jimmy, I'm glad that I'm talking with you about this because you're gonna have to do some explaining with what I'm looking at here because
pull it up. Okay.
The CEO of Larian Studios, he tweeted this out, and it has something to do with the VRAM at peak usage during certain moments of the games and stuff. I'm gonna be real with y'all. This just looks like some lines on a graph to me. So I'm hoping that Jim, with your knowledge of this stuff, you can maybe put it in terms that me and the rest of our audience can understand.
This has been the biggest problem with PC gaming for sure. The past couple of years is VRAM, because a lot of the 30 series cards didn't have enough of it. There were a lot of 8 gigabyte cards out there. So if you were running a game with textures above medium, right, and your VRAM fills up, you would get a stutter when it dumps it all out. right? So then you would get a slowdown, stuttering on the screen and everything like that. And the way to remedy that was obviously to make cards with more VRAM, which is what we saw, but that's still like a big problem on PC with Diablo 4, where, you know, on console, the console will have 16 gigs in its APU that it can use as RAM or VRAM and kind of like decide how to use that accordingly. That's better than what we've had lately on PC, where it's like you have X amount of gigabytes of RAM and X amount of VRAM that it can use for specific tasks. So Diablo 4 on console is running the ultra textures because it has enough VRAM at all times, whereas on PC, there's not really a lot of cards out there that have enough VRAM to run at ultra textures. So like the game will crash if you run it above high. So I'm assuming that whatever's going on in this game graphically, like where it has to render multiple times to have all those characters spread around the map, moving around the map with all the people and the towns and everything, that tax the CPU. And that was another big problem I saw. I'm just assuming that, you know, they were able to figure out how to not use all the VRAM up so that the game won't crash. I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm not an engineer, so like I understand the base level of what they're talking about, but not the like math of it.
I feel like that was a pretty damn good explanation. That was cool. Sven, he says that there's still some work to be done, but they're very close to getting Baldur's Gate 3 shipped out onto Xbox. We have heard previously that they're still on track to release this game by the end of 2023 or before 2023 is up. And honestly, I'm very excited to play it all over again. I spent like 120 hours in my first playthrough, so I'm itching for an excuse to jump back in. And he also mentioned this, the CEO also mentioned that this will be good for other platforms as well, not just for Xbox and for the Series S, but it's something that they can bring to other platforms.
Yeah, that's cool. I'm glad that the Series S is there specifically for the PS5 Pro, right? Like we can't get the PS5 Pro next year and have it leave the regular PS5 in the dust because every game has to work on the Series S still.
Last but not least, you texted me this last night or yesterday, but there is a rumor that there is a massive Black Friday discount on the Series X. It's going to be discounted by as much as $150. Are we feeling good about this deal? Like, do you think this is going to be a real thing? Or
I think that makes sense. Like, what are we, almost 3 years into the life cycle, around 3 years right now. Seems like a good time to discount it, especially with Sony putting out the PS5 Slim and doing a bundle that comes with Spider-Man 2 for free and Modern Warfare, right? Like the timing is good for Microsoft to get people in on the Series X. And they're also running a lot of promotions right now, like with the Game Fuel and everything. Now that they own Call of Duty, now that they own Diablo, Halo is back on top. They got a lot of like eyes on them right now. So dropping the price kind of seems like the perfect time to do it.
Yeah, and we're just seeing, and we'll talk about this in the two-host PlayStation, but Sony, they just hit over 46 million PS5 sold. So Xbox, they got to get moving on just putting out units out there. We already know they take a loss on the hardware sale. So like, what's an extra 150 bucks on top of that? As long as people are getting their, like buying Xbox games and buying Xbox services like
and
Game
converting
Pass.
to Game Pass. Yeah, I think that's the goal.
You know, this deal hasn't been confirmed yet, and may be by the time this video goes up. But there is another deal going on at Dell, where you'll buy a Series X, $50 off, so it's $450, plus you'll get a $75 gift card, which is pretty dang good. Yeah.
I guess Dell sells games and stuff too. I saw that they had the PS5 Slim up last night. I'm trying to get it where I could just pick it up, and it's very difficult so far.
Kind of takes the place of like these other bundles that we're seeing, I guess, with Diablo and stuff. But with this, it's like you get the discount and you get $75 off to buy whatever game you want. It doesn't have to be Diablo or anything locked in.
I think it's worth it.
We think it's worth it. You heard it here, ladies and gentlemen.
I'm trying to see if this deal is available yet, and it doesn't look like it's confirmed, but I bet it will be.
We'll see. But if you want to keep updated on all the Black Friday stuff, make sure you check back in Xbox Ready. We're going to do a whole roundup like I do every year. The best Xbox deals and accessories that you can buy. But anyways, guys, that's all the stuff that we have to talk about today. Thanks for joining me and Jimmy on the weekend edition of Xbox Ready, and we'll see you in the next one.